Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys 1/6 scale Star Wars figure unboxing and review. Today, we're taking a look at the comic-inspired BT-1. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, so you're notified as soon as brand new Star Wars content goes live on the channel. As for the box art, it's done in the usual Star Wars style. We've got an image of BT-1 up front, that's the actual figure, a metallic foil Star Wars logo, as well as a glossy wraparound banner just below it, with some figure photography and gold used as an accent color, with a star field in the background. On the side of the box, more BT-1. Just watch out for this. As you're sliding the protective plastic sleeve back over the top of the box, if you're not careful, this will get caught and probably tear off on you. Around the back, nothing exciting, just some warnings, legal information, and Hot Toy store locations. Now, this is more like it, the murder duo fully assembled. We've got BT-1 up front and 000 in the background. Is it just me, or does the environment they've put them in look a little bit battlefronty to you? Let me know down in the comments. First in-hand impressions for BT-1. Dude is extremely lightweight. There is no die cast in this piece. What we're going to do now is skip accessories because he doesn't really come with any. All of this stuff is going to be installed on him to complete the look. So we can go right ahead and just pop him on the turntable. Standing straight up and down in the light box, no crazy poses or accessories or anything like that. I've not even popped the weapons on yet. We'll do that when we take him off the rotating turntable. This is a hell of a lot of reuse. But there's some new stuff as well. The dome, for one, but also the weapons, which, like I already said, we're going to get to. If you're after an astromech droid that you can display clean like this, that's going to look visually distinct from all of the previous astromech droids Hot Toys have given us, whether it's R2-D2 or R5, this guy might just be the one for you. He leans Empire with the color scheme and the metallics and the dark finish for the gunmetal. If you light this guy correctly, overhead works best, I found. All of the different shades they've used on the surface, they are going to pop. We've got blues, purples, magentas, greens, golds, and the silver and red for all of the panels and accent pieces. This might just be one of the most layered and interesting paint apps that I've ever seen from them. And it's on a cute little astromech droid. Who would have guessed? I thought we'd start off without the weapons on first. That way I can show you how to actually install them, and we can get a look at this alternative look for him. I'm never going to see him like this again because he's always going to have the weapons on. This is BT-1, a freaking murderous astromech. He needs to have his full array of weapons on display at all times. Let's look at his dome first. It's quite pointy up top, you can see that point. This panel can open, whereas the rest can't. These two side ones also open, we'll get there. And the way they've painted the eye is pretty unique. They've used some airbrushing around the edge to simulate a light-up effect. It hasn't worked. If they were going to do this, they first needed to add that airbrushing in white over the top of the sculpt work, and then hit it with red. If you paint transparent red on top of gunmetal, it turns brown, which is what happened. This doesn't look like a glow anymore. It looks like the sculpted stuff around the eye is just painted brown. And that is not the look they were going for. So the effect is a fail. But at least they tried. Going forward, if they want to give it another crack, use the white first. Trust me, it works every time. We've got these hoses underneath the eye, some linkages all around it. That looks like it's brown, but I've already explained the light-up effect. The eye is cast in translucent plastic. We've got some greebly bits and pieces, and I love the way the dome has been painted. On the outside, not this front piece. In fact, I love the way this entire thing has been painted. It's gunmetal first and foremost, this color right here with this metallic flake in it. Then there's purple and orange and blue and greenish hues all over the entire thing. When light bounces off the surface, the different colors reveal themselves. This is one interesting looking astromech. You can see that gloss on the body too. This thing just pops in the studio lights. We've got different colors for these little arms that would come out on R2-D2, and that's one of my complaints. In the pros and cons segment, I'm going to go hard on this. None of these compartments open, unlike the more recent versions of R2-D2. This body is practically all R2. The only real new thing we have to look at right now before we pop the weapons on is the dome. This R2 except for the paint apps. Now you can move the arms back, the feet are on hinges, these cables are rubbery so no worries about breakage. Then you can push this middle foot, grab it, extend it out, lock it in place, you can turn it, angle it forwards, and now he's in 3-legged mode. The wheels on the underside do rotate freely, so you can zoom this guy round if you're a fan of play functions with your Hot Toys figures. Let's install this dude's weapons because he looks so much better with them on. Step 1 is to push the bottom part of this panel in, then you can literally just remove it. Find somewhere safe to keep that. If the compartment's opened, we could put that in there, but anyway, I'll move on. Then we can plug in his first weapon. Then we can install the second. I'm going to go with his Gatling gun blaster. To remove this panel, just like the top one, you push it. That will give you just enough clearance for you to be able to wedge your fingernail underneath it. After you've done that, make sure this clear plastic thing comes out as well, because if that's in there, you're not going to be able to plug the blaster in. Speaking of which, before we do that, there's some sculpt work inside the compartment. Then we can bring the blaster in, push it in place, and it sits in there very securely. The last step is to remove this clear plastic piece from the panel. Then you can see this peg port. Angle this so it sits in place properly, and now it looks like the blaster has popped out from the side of his dome. The same thing with this side, it's not rocket science. Push the panel, take off this clear plastic piece, bring in the rocket pod, which actually has 2 pegs this time. Push that in place, making sure you're aligning both of them. Then you can bring the panel back in. This is the peg you're looking for. Plug that into the armature for the rocket pod, and now this is fully installed. Underneath these panels for the legs, we've got some sculpted circuitry. We can then plug in this taser thing. Then on the other side, taking this off, they are coded right and left, as you can see, so they only go one way. Plugging this in. This is BT-1 with all of his weapons out. He's never not going to look like this. He's ridiculous. I mean, there is no way this Gatling gun and the rocket pod could fit inside of this dome. But that's what they're suggesting with these panels. I don't care about any of that. I don't need believability because this thing is a freaking unit. We've got some articulation for the weapons. We'll get to that in the articulation segment. Just watch out for this rubbery hose around the back of the Gatling gun. When you move it too far, it starts to get a little bit stressed as you're pulling on it. There is a silver dry brush over the top of the gunmetal for this hose. The effect is convincing. It looks like this stuff has extended out of him. The tips of the taser with the blue, that's quite effective. It looks like an electrical based weapon. Then we've got these missiles. Are these missiles? I'm not super familiar with every single one of BT-1's weapons. Let me know down in the comments if you are. Are you going to display him like this, or do you prefer the cleaner look? Oh, and by the way, if you wanted to modify BT-1 to put an LED inside the dome, the eye is translucent plastic, like I said earlier, so you can take it off, put an LED in there, and then it will look like it's properly glowing. I want to try it. I have to try it. I need to see what this guy looks like with that eye illuminated. So bringing in my phone, turning the LED on. That looks so freaking cool. I need to find a way to have his eye permanently illuminated in the collection. There is so much space inside this dome that surely someone like Fusion Reactors can figure out some kind of light core that you can pop inside the dome to get that eye to light up all the time. Because like I said, that's exactly what I want for this piece. The duo is now complete. They look sensational standing together. This is a perfect pairing. This is a match made in heaven. If only 000's eyes were lit up, that would complete this shot for me, but in typical button cell battery fashion, they've of course died. Now I'm starting to appreciate the translucent red plastic they used for BT-1's eye a little bit more. They're painted similarly, but BT-1's got a lot more purple on him compared to the metallic blue tones on 000. Just in case Hot Toys never give us stock to Aphra, I'm hoping they do, but if they don't, BT-1 and 000 did work for Vader. So having them next to him, not that bad of an option. Seeing them now as a trio, I'm probably going to do this, because otherwise who the heck else do you display these droids with? Going over articulation, we'll look at the main body of BT-1, but also his weapons. So his rocket pod is on multiple hinges, plus this armature. Then you can rotate it at the base. His Gatling gun, also up and down, plus rotation. Then his dome swivels left and right, all the way around 360. His two side legs are on ratchets, going forward and back. His feet are on hinges. Then his third foot can be extended out, locked in place, and it too is on a hinge. Moving on to the 3 cool and 3 annoying things. The first annoying thing is, what is this stupid unspoken rule they've imposed on themselves that astromech droids can never come with display bases? Proper bases. That flight stand thing we got with R2 doesn't count. Seeing as though most collectors are probably going to display BT-1 next to 000 and Trip has a base, there's now going to be a massive height difference between the two pieces because of it. He fits on a base, so why the heck doesn't he come with one? The second annoying thing is I was so excited to see the end result of the experiment they were doing with the simulated light up effect for the central eye. They added this feathering of red airbrushing around the middle eye to make it look like it was glowing without having to rely on LEDs. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out. The red they used is so dull that it looks like the area around the eye is just painted brown, but that is meant to be a simulated glow. The third annoying thing is all of the stuff we're used to seeing opening on the R2-D2 body mold, like the side compartments, these little bits and pieces, they're all fixed in place. So they cheaped out. They didn't want to paint inside these compartments. They wanted to save on mold costs, so they used one of the earlier R2-D2 bodies for this. The first cool thing is the paint. There's so much of it. There's layers upon layers of metallics and pearlescence, and when light bounces off the surface, this guy looks straight up ethereal. The second cool thing is all of the weapons are optional. If you don't want to have him looking like a downright murder bot, you can ditch all of this stuff. The third cool thing is, raise your hand if you ever thought we'd see the day that Hot Toys would make a BT-1 and a 000 in 1/6 scale. Because I never thought it was going to happen, but here they are, and I'm impressed with both of them in their own right. Wrapping up on BT-1, the companion to 000. It should have been a 2-pack. Like, really, it should have. Why did they not release them together? Because making 000 an exclusive and then releasing BT-1 way after him, it's going to be quite challenging to pick up both of them if you didn't already grab 000 when he came out. If you were waiting, yeah, I don't like your chances. You are probably going to have to pay more on the aftermarket. Now that BT-1 is here, he's impressive. He's not perfect. He's all plastic. I would have liked some die-cast, maybe for the dome like their R2s, and a light-up effect, or just better paint apps for the simulated light-up effect. But the stuff that they nailed, they delivered the goods on. The weapons, the paint apps, how the weapons attach to make it look like they've extended out of the panels on his head. It all just comes together to make for one of the most interesting and coolest little astromechs I've seen in a while. What I'm trying to say is this figure is just plain fun. I've had a blast reviewing it, and I cannot wait to pop it in the cabinet next to Trip and Darth Vader. Now, I got mine at a discount from Pop Collectibles. As always, do your own research, make sure you're comfortable before buying. I've popped a link to their site in the description, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe. We'll catch you in the next video.